Hi, everyone. My name is Patty Huber, and I worked at the Department of Industrial Relations for 25 plus years. My most recent role there was an assistant chief. For the last 10 years of my employment there, I spent much of my time bringing units onto the Salesforce platform. And that included our Bureau of Field Enforcement over at the Labor Commissioner's Office, our licensing and registration, and most importantly, our wage claim unit. And I shouldn't forget retaliation claims, but most importantly, our wage claim. We spent a lot of time ensuring that our wage claims were appropriately handled, and we receive over 30,000 claims a year at the California Labor Commissioner's Office. So that became really important. And so we were putting our unit on the Salesforce platform. And during that time, I had the pleasure of working with an incredible vendor called ProPoint Technology. After I retired in 2023, I started working with ProPoint as an executive advisor to their labor solutions practice and have really enjoyed that new role. And I also get to stay in touch with some of my folks over at the Department of Industrial Relations, and you will learn more from them in a little bit. And so today we will talk about dashboards and reports. Salesforce can be an asset when it comes to managing a large volume of wage claims. It's fully customizable to the needs of various labor departments, as seen with the various features of the platform that processes our online wage claims. COVID presented challenges that really made us look at the way we handled wage claim processing in California. Our constituents could not come into the office to file their claims. We were having issues getting those claims online, as well as keeping our own staff safe and allowing for remote work a large majority of the time. We determined that an online wage claim portal would not only allow the claimants to be able to file those claims online, it would also be able to allow staff to be able to process those claims more easily online. It also allows labor departments to handle high volumes of wage claims being filed, and management of the claim can be handled from inception to closure. As I said before, over 30,000 wage claims per year are filed in California, and we're at 70%, at least as of the time that I left in 2023, 70% of those claims are now being filed by the public online. Prior to using the Salesforce platform, we were a highly manual, very siloed system in California. And so for wage claims, we had 16 different wage claim offices, and each of those offices had their own database that they were using. And so you couldn't see at a glance whether somebody had filed a claim in Bakersfield and also filed that same claim in Sacramento until the employer notified us. So that was very important to combine all of the wage claims that were being filed in California. In-person filing was happening a lot prior to COVID, and the online platform allowed folks to file their claims, and the platform is very user-friendly. We have lots of information to help the online filers be able to get through that form easily. The tangible benefits for the user just cannot be overstated. The user can check their claim where they're at, they can see where it has been filed, and they can also see whether they have any meetings upcoming, any conferences or hearings that they need to attend. We no longer had paper that we were having to track in our wage claim offices. So being able to see the claim and work the claim online allows for better management of a claim. And also our supervisors were not in the office all the time either, so they can easily see what's going on with any particular claim. It allows folks to be fully remote, and it also allows for less rework of a claim. What we're going to be demonstrating today is fully on the Salesforce platform. the pain points that we were able to identify early on allowed us to be able to customize a build that would solve some of those pain points. The community portal, for example, that's what I was talking about earlier, that allows a claimant to be able to not only file their own claim, but to track the progress of their claim. There are internal workflows. For example, when a claim comes into the office and it gets assigned to a deputy, the status of the claim is automatically updated. And that happens many times throughout the life of a claim when there's a conference scheduled or when there's a hearing scheduled. The other thing that happened with the online claim project was that we allowed for text messaging. So the employees and the parties get notice of any upcoming conferences or hearing via text messaging. It also allows for us to communicate with our constituents or our claimants using text messaging to ask for ad hoc things. You know, we noticed that your mail came back and maybe we need a new address for you, so we can easily text message to get that. There is also an e-signature. We joined the 21st century and allowed for e-signatures, which had not been done previously. We allowed for data integration with third parties. There are API accesses so that if a union has a large volume of claims that they want to file at once, they can do that via an API. We have dashboards that we can easily see at an office level, at your own case level, or at a higher management level, what's going on in any individual office or the program statewide. And then we also allowed for document storage. We no longer have those paper files that those papers had to be uploaded and have to exist someplace because we still need access to forms and other notifications. And so having that storage capacity has been key to, as you can imagine, 30,000 claims a year, how much paper that generated in the past and how many documents still need to be uploaded. Now, saying all that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to a coworker of mine in the past who is still at DIR, Gurvinder.
Hey, so hello, my name is Gurvinder Kandola. I am a senior deputy for the Labor Commissioner's Office here in the state of California. I've worked for the Labor Commissioner's Office since 2016, and I've been part of various special projects involving the IT side and the business side since November 2020, which is exactly when the online wage claim platform began, and was a leading subject matter expert on the development of each step of the online wage claim process for the Labor Commissioner's Office. If you are a senior deputy, you kind of want a snapshot of the entirety of your office. Here we can select all, so we can see kind of statewide what is going on, right? We can see how many new claims have come in, how many cases are marked as inactive, the number of claims the total claims pending across the state, how many claims are waiting assignment. But I think if you're a senior deputy, that view may give you an idea as far as an average, but you probably want to be more specific about your own office. So if we look at just the Sacramento office, for example, when I change the drop down to Sacramento, now we're really honing in on one specific office. So now I can see how many new claims have come in and who they've been assigned to, the amount of pending claims, unassigned.
Pending claims just means that they're open, they're not closed. So
right.
they're yeah.
The number of unassigned claims, so claims that we've received and have yet to be worked on at all, they're waiting to be assigned. Maybe some may have fallen through the cracks, and maybe this number should be closer to 0. To look at it, you could click on this link here, and it takes you directly to a report specific about this topic. So I can see, once I click this, I want to know, where are these 540 claims? Who are they? And then it will show me a different version of the graph, but I can see for Sacramento, I can see all of these case numbers have a case status of new, and that means nobody's been assigned to investigate these cases. Maybe for some reason they had fallen through the cracks somewhere, but now I have a breakdown of those 540 cases. I know exactly which 540 cases are unassigned and need to be maybe assigned to begin to be worked on. If I scroll down further, you can see the number of the first meeting that we typically have on a case is called a conference, and I can see a snapshot of what's going on in my office. Sorry, this is statewide again. So there's only updates for that little subsection. So here we want to change this to Sacramento. And if you give it a moment to load, you'll see data specific to my office. So now I can see who's scheduling how many meetings in the Sacramento office. So if I scroll down, you can kind of see these deputies here are holding X amount of conferences. Here you can see how many have actually been held. So how many where the parties actually showed up. How much time people are spending in their conferences. If some of these numbers are outliers, there may be training issues. It's just a snapshot of the data to see what may need to be worked on. It's a fantastic resource for management purposes at the office level, and you can really hone down on an individual level too. We have multiple sections. We have processing times for individual staff for their specific cases. As you scroll down, there's so many different aspects of data that you can add onto this page or update or amend to aid in managing a office or a individual. Here you can see we have a money section, so we can see what's happening across the state as far as wage payments, what we're finding is due, what types of wages we're finding that are due. So that's the senior dashboard. All these dashboards provide another way of being able to manage your workload as an individual or your office, and can kind of help make sure that cases, meetings, ODAs, any of those types of things are not left behind in some capacity. It's a great way to kind of have a check or a balance against your own caseload and an office caseload, and a good idea of sharing with your staff a snapshot of what's going on across the state and what's going on specifically as far as our office. I think it's a great way to let people kind of have an idea or a sense of worth as far as the day-to-day goes, that the work is meaningful and does make a difference, and here are the numbers, and this is what we're doing, this is what the state is doing, and they provide very helpful information as far as definitely for managing a caseload and managing a single office or looking statewide for purposes of going to the legislature for X, Y, or Z, whatever it may be. The deputy dashboard. So this is a level 1 deputy who holds the initial meeting. There's some preset dashboard options that are specific to what they would need to see. So you can see how many new claims are in Sacramento, how many claims were closed. So we've completed the investigation through one method or another. How many claims are pending? So these are the ones that are not closed. How many judgments we filed, how many days it's taking on average to find a resolution on a case. So there's many different pathways to a resolution, but you kind of get an idea of what the average is across the state, what the average is across your office, and what the average is for an individual. And again, you'll be able to find some outliers where you may need to address workload or provide additional assistance or additional training to help manage that workload. And then here we can see how many cases have been resolved based on the individual deputy. And if you go down, there's same kind of options and averages for different aspects of case processing. And again, these all just provide additional ways to view what is going on specifically for you as an individual or for an office. And Again, any of these dashboards, you can click on the blue link underneath, which will take you to the report, which goes a bit more in depth. That gives a bit more information to this data or these figures here, you know, the number 438, but then you can really hone down on which 438 that they are. You can see this little subsection for this specific person. What were the meetings that she held? And you can kind of see here what's going on as far as the outcomes, exactly which 88 ones we're referring to in this specific report. And then in the report itself, you can modify these filters. So this is currently set to the current and previous calendar year. These can be set to different preset timeframes or a specific timeframe if you want to. So there you go. You can kind of amend that to a specific timeframe. Sorry, a preset range versus a specific timeframe. You have the option here to customize and choose a start date and end dates, maybe just through June 30th. And it will modify as necessary.
This concludes our demo presentation of ProPoint's Labor Solutions, a dashboarding and reporting solution for the California Department of Industrial Relations. Thank you so much for joining.